This is a simple yet effective digital version of the sport of bowling. For the one person out there who's unfamiliar with the game of bowling, the concept is a simple one. Basically, you stand at the end of a long lane with gutters on either side of it, grab a large heavy ball, and roll it towards a group of 10 pins. The goal is to knock them all down with a single throw, but if you fail on your first attempt, you get another opportunity to pick up the stragglers and earn a spare. This goes on for 10 frames, and the person with the highest score at the end wins. The scoring is complicated, with variables given for consecutive strikes, spares, etc. Depending on where you are in the country/world, there are local customs, usually involving drinking beer on certain frames. As for the 2600 version, you have 3 different skill settings. The straight ball setting is the closest approximation to the real game for most of us, since unless you have spent years perfecting your throw, the ball will typically only go in a straight line. The curveball setting is a fair representation of the pro game, since it gives you the opportunity to make the ball curve into the pins. This makes strikes easier to come by. Now, for those of you who have ever wondered what bowling would be like with telekinetic powers, the steerable ball game setting is the one for you. Once you roll the ball, you will have full control over it as it screams down the lane. With a flick of the controller, the ball will move up, then down, then back up again, allowing you to perfectly place the ball's entry into the pin set, giving you the greatest chance for a strike. While this is totally unrealistic, it is a lot of fun to mess around with. The only other things of note are the ability to play against a friend one-on-one, and a nice little flashing animation celebration when you get a spare or a strike. The box features some of that fantastic painted artwork that was the hallmark of early Atari games. This time it depicts a man who no doubt smells like cigarette smoke and cheap beer doing his best to knock down every pin he can. The manual is pretty straightforward, with nothing much outside of the basics. Bowling appeared in a number of Atari catalogs over the years, and also received a Sears Telegames release. Despite being simplistic and straightforward, this is a fairly accurate video game portrayal of the sport of boxing. Well, maybe a vintage Mike Tyson boxing match, since the entire fight never lasts more than 2 minutes. So, for those of you hoping to see some blocky ring girls, you're out of luck, since there's only a single 2-minute round. Although once you get the hang of it, you will be getting KOs well before the bell rings. The concept is simple. Once you hear the bell, you gain control of your boxer, and head off into the center of the ring to lay a whooping on your opponent. When you press the button, your boxer will throw either a right or left jab, and then alternate fists after that. This is both good and bad. It can be frustrating to have your punch lined up only to throw one with the wrong hand, giving the opposing boxer an opportunity to smack you right in the face. That said, it can work to your advantage if you can work your way to the edge of the ring, and can bounce your opponent off the ropes repeatedly with a barrage of blows. With each successfully landed punch, you gain either 1 or 2 points, depending on if it was a long punch, 1 point, or a short forceful jab, 2 points. If you are able to beat 100 points out of your opponent, you will score a KO and win the match. If nobody hits 100, then whoever has the highest score at the end of 2 minutes wins. The action is viewed from the top-down perspective, and since this was a game from Activision and not Mystique, I'm going to go ahead and assume that that is their nose, and that they aren't really excited about getting into a fight. If you're looking for a fast-paced boxing game for the 2600, this is a great option. The box has some of that wonderfully colorful Activision artwork, with the psychedelic rainbows coming from the two fighters. The manual is pretty basic, but does have a nice write-up of the game designer. Boxing also showed up in an Activision catalog. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more Game Encyclopedia videos.